After 2 rounds in the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, we have had 2 different winners. But last week, a new driver asserted his dominance at the virtual Lernerville Speedway in Pennsylvania, winning by more than 6 seconds and lapping up to 12th place in a non-stop 50-lapper. Knoxville, Tennessee's Hayden Cardwell took over the points lead in the $10,000 to win World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model World Championship Series on iRacing.com. Cardwell, driving the Jason Webb Racing Slick Sim Sport Down Under Graphics number 07, absolutely scorched the field last week, and he looks to keep that vibe alive here tonight in northwestern Ohio. However, it won't be a cakewalk tonight with the likes of Kendall Tucker and Evan C. looking to track him down in the standings, along with former Limaland Series winners Blake Cannon and Alex Bergeron in the field. This should be an absolute dandy here this evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Limaland Motorsports Park here in Lima, Ohio, for the third stop on the iRacing.com World of Outlaws Late Models calendar. We are here live on the iRacing Esports Network. My name is Chase Rodman with Justin Prince alongside, and we've got Tyler Maxson pushing the buttons and turning the knobs in the production van. And Justin, we'll head over to you, man. You've been paying attention to these guys in practice sessions all day long, and a familiar face at the top of those practice standings for now.
Hayden Cardwell has been the quickest driver throughout the preparation for tonight's event, as much as a tenth of a second quicker in short run pace on clean racetrack, and has been one of the best drivers in regards to keeping along the outside line, as well as being able to try and use a bit of the bottom side if need be. He could be someone that could be very fast tonight, but keep in mind, you talked about Bergeron and his wins. He's someone looking to jump up to the top of the point standings. Blake Cannon, the winner of the second round of the season in 2019. Keep an eye on them. But don't forget about some of the others looking to try and move up, such as the Devin Morgans and the Tyler Ducharmes of the world.
Yeah, there's a quick look at the championship standings for this World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series. Hayden Cardwell leads all by 23 points over Kendall Tucker, Evan C., Blake Cannon, and Devin Morgan. And you look down there with Dylan Wilson, Tyler Ducharme, Alex Bergeron, James Edens, and Dylan Hauser, currently the top 10 drivers. Tonight we've got 31 here making the call at the Limaland Motorsports Park. And last year this place put on an absolute show, a big-time slider fest between Blake Cannon and Alex Bergeron. And as we already mentioned, interestingly enough, those are the 2 guys that have won races here with this series.
Yeah, I was talking with a couple of the drivers in preparation. This is an interesting schedule, of course, with how diverse it is and some of the challenges amongst of it. But Limaland, for the first time in its series history, just one date on the calendar in 2020. But it's one that can put on a heck of a show because it's one with multiple groups. The top side and the bottom side can work. Drivers likely going to be searching for moisture down the straightaways all night long. And don't forget, Chase, you mentioned some of the battles. We could see 3-4 wide for several laps at a time for some of the positions in the Hornet's Nest tonight.
Oh, we've seen 4 wide here on several occasions at the Limaland Motorsports Park. You're taking a look at the schedule right there. Obviously, third round here tonight. First week was Drew Hopkins with the winner, of Volusia Speedway Park. Then Hayden Cardwell won last week at Lernerville. James Edens won that first one on the list. That was an exhibition race. No points paying that night. But take a look at the rest of the schedule. Eldora Speedway, then back to Lernerville 2 weeks from now. Kokomo Speedway, Fairbury, Knoxville, Williams Grove, and the dirt track at Charlotte. So there towards the end of the season is maybe where some of the guys that like bigger tracks, like Alex Bergeron, he's very good at Williams Grove Speedway. Guys that like the big half miles, the last half of the season is probably where they're going to come on strong here, Justin.
Yeah, I think so too. This is right now one of those positions where if you want the $10,000 championship prize you see on screen, this is where you need to start building up the points to set yourself up for the final 3 or 4 rounds of the season. Don't forget, each and every round competing for $300 apiece for the win, $200 for second, $100 for third place. There's a lot of pressure in terms of the points, a lot of pressure in terms of the prize pool, and overall, the competition level expected to be at a very high expectation throughout tonight's race here at Limaland.
No doubt about it. You saw that $10,000 winner's share in the championship, also getting a ride in a Clint Boyer Racing super late model at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here's the point structure, how you earn points throughout a night of racing with this series. 8 points to win a heat race, with 1 point being given out to 8th place in a heat race. Then you look over there at the feature event points, 70 to win the feature, with 23 being given out for 20th place in the main event. We do start 20 cars, so 20th is dead last. That's 23 points and 70 to win it. So a total of 78 can be made up in a night. And for guys like Kendall Tucker and Evan C. that are looking to go and track down Hayden Cardwell a little bit here in this championship, that's what they're going for here tonight as you take a look at that event format.
And with some of the drivers, such as one of the previous winners here, Zach Hardy, here's something to think about. 3 of the 4 times here, he's finished inside the top 5. But with how difficult it is to get out of the 8-lap heats with that format, to get inside the top 4, and then stay out of trouble if you don't do that, for the consolation race to be in the top 2, he's only got 3 points on the season, putting him around 30th position in the standings. So there's a lot of importance, to say the very least, if you want to not just battle for a championship, but stay in this series for 2021, if you try and get yourself in that 50-lap feature race chase.
It's honestly unbelievable that we have a former series champion here in this deal, and Zach Hardy is 30th out of 34 drivers in the point standings with, as you mentioned, just 3 championship points awarded to him. It just goes to show how tough it is to be competitive and to make the feature every single week. And, you know, by the time we make it to the halfway point in the season there, Justin, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe half of these guys, maybe like 15 or so, that have made every single show. I think we look back at the sprint cars, I think there was 5 or 6 guys throughout the 35-car field that made all 10 races, made all 10 main events. It's just that hard here on the iRacing service.
And the overall expectation, the overall difficulty of making a feature race with the amount of competition and skill has risen up compared to 2018, compared to 2019. It's just that difficult. Many of these teams put a lot of focus on qualifying to make sure they have the best times you see on your screen right now, because we've talked about it many times. The difference from 1st to 30th in many of these races throughout the past couple years has been about 1/10 of a second. If you make one mistake in qualifying, hit the wall too hard, have a bad run off the corner exit, it can mean you start at the back of a heat, and it's the difference in a lot of the cases we've seen so far this season of making it to the feature race or watching the rest of the race on your couch.
Well, you saw the rundown of qualifying on the left of your screen. One driver that you did not see in that ticker, Hayden Cardwell, current series point leader. He just timed in dead last at a 12.886. J.D. Brown, he was quickest overall here, but we talked about guys making up points. That's the way to do it. Hayden Cardwell, last week's feature winner, and the current points leader, JP, dead last in the 07 car, and he will start way back in 8th in a heat race. And just behind him, also not even getting a lap time in qualifying, last year's winner here at Limaland, Blake Cannon, does not even get a lap turn in there for qualifying. So let's take a look at the lineup here for this first heat race. We got J.D. Brown turning in quick time here this evening. And on the outside of him, a great starting spot here for the 23 car of Casey Kerwin. Row number 2 on the inside, another great starting spot for the 41 car of Shad Prescott. And on the outside, the number 9 car of Tyler Ducharme. Row 3, it's the 32 car of Steven Wilson and the 15 of Mason Crawford. Row 4, it's Blake Brown and the number 11 car, and the 18 of Daniel Cummings Jr. will start out back on the outside of the 4th row. But wow, things already getting dramatic here, and we're only after qualifying here with Cardwell going out dead last.
Yeah, I don't think we were expecting Hayden Cardwell to be that off in the qualifying. I think it was mainly in part maybe the line. Many of the drivers, though, were expecting the bottom to try and work its way as the preferred line at the start, then up to the top of the racetrack. Expecting, based on what we've seen, though, many of drivers to try and diamond off the corner. But talk about good qualifying runs. Casey Kerwin has had a roller coaster of a season so far in 2020 for the late models. Don't even think about the eNASCAR side on top of that. This is best qualifying performance in either of those series in the past couple months.
Yeah, Kerwin has not made a feature event with this World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late model series. He is currently mired way back in the 26th spot in points with just 6 championship points. But here we go. We're underway. First heat race of the night for round number 3 of the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late model series. We're green here at Limaland Motorsports Park as he worked down the back straightaway. J.D. Brown is your leader. Already a great battle for second as Kerwin gets a slider thrown on him by Shad Prescott.
Prescott shuts the door. Kerwin stuck in the middle line on the bottom side this time. Goes Tyler Ducharme, slides up to the middle. Make it 3 wide for second spot. Kerwin tries to show his nose. Back down to 2 wide as Ducharme tries to hold on to the middle. 6 laps to go in heat race 1.
Kerwin makes it back by the 41 car. Shad Prescott for the third spot. Now that puts Prescott on the bubble. That's definitely not where you want to be. As here comes another driver to the inside of Prescott. It's the 32 of Steven Wilson trying to go by for the transfer. It's not going to happen down the front straightaway. Prescott now looks back to the inside of Casey Kerwin behind Wilson. How about 3 wide back there for 6th?
Bit of a squeeze in that grouping, back down to 2 wide, but also closing in Steven Wilson. Closing in by a quarter of a car length the past few laps, moves up to the top side. Prescott stays in the middle. Kerwin watches his mirrors as Wilson gets a run, forced to check up behind the 41, coming to 3 laps to go. 4 wide for the transfer spot.
Yeah, things are getting real spicy here for that 4th and final transfer spot. The 41 of Prescott's got it, the 32 of Wilson. Oh, contact behind Wilson. Got one into the wall head on. The 15 of Crawford got together with Daniel Cummings Jr. They slip out of the picture, back up front. We got 2 laps to go, and here comes Tyler Ducharme to the inside for the race lead down the back straightaway.
It can go to anybody this heat race based on how things have been going. JD Hollywood Brown preferring the middle line. White flag is out. His teammate Tyler Ducharme preferring the top line alongside the wall. Here comes the run down the back straightaway. One last chance to send it for the heat race win.
He'll try and roll the bottom in 3 and 4. It's going to be a close one at the line, but JD Brown out of Bakersfield, California will get the win in heat race number 1 and will set himself up on the pole for tonight's 50-lap main event. A great run for that 14 car as he gets the job done in heat race 1 over Tyler Ducharme. Shad Prescott, Casey Kerwin will punch his ticket into his first feature of the year, followed by Steven Wilson, Blake Brown, Mason Crawford, and Daniel Cummings Jr. As we get ready for heat race number 2, it's going to see Dylan Wilson on the pole, and alongside of him, it's another Dylan. It's Dylan Hauser in car number 2. Row 2 to the inside. He's currently second in the point standings, the 00 of Kendall Tucker. And on the outside, the number 6 car of CJ Phillips. Row 3 on the inside, car number 3, it's Shane James. And on the outside of him, the 52 car of James Edens out of Santa Rosa, California. Row number 4 on the inside, that's where you'll find Austin Matthews. And to the outside, starting 8th, current series point leader, the 07 out of Knoxville, Tennessee, Hayden Cardwell. He's going to be putting on a show here for us, Justin, starting way back in 8th. He's got to get all the way up to 4th if he wants to make his way into the feature event.
Yeah, I was shocked to see the rough qualifying performance for him, at the very least, from what we've seen from my expected mid-pack. But now he's got the challenge of trying to get by some drivers who've looked very well throughout the day in preparation. James Edens has looked very comfortable in his race car. I should rather say Austin Matthews has put in a fair amount of time in his respective car. CJ Phillips as well has been also someone interesting to watch. And don't forget about Kendall Tucker and that bottom line in row 2 for this green flag this time.
And we're underway here for heat race number 2. Going to keep my eyes on the 07 of Hayden Cardwell from the back of the field. Up front, though, it is the 80 of Dylan Wilson leading the field down the back straightaway to turn number 3. Here comes Tucker looking to the inside of Dylan Hauser for the 2nd spot. Remember here, Justin, as we go 3 wide for the lead, every spot you pick up here in the heat race is worth 4 spots on the A main starting grid. So every spot counts here in these heat races.
Absolutely, these drivers, if they win this heat race, it's the outside of the front row. 2nd spot, about row 4 is where they'll cycle about. 2 wide behind these groupings, the top 4 now single file. James Eden just got a shot from behind. Hayden Cardwell making it 3 wide, along with Shane James, the battle a couple spots from the transfer.
And Cardwell trying to get a little banana splitty down the back straightaway, trying to go through the middle of the racetrack through James Edens and Shane James. Now he goes back to the top of the racetrack, right on the rear tail section of that 52 car as they work down the front straightaway. Edens currently 1 spot out in that white and purple number 52 car. The 6 of Phillips on the bubble, but up front and pulling away just a little bit here, the 80 car of Dylan Wilson running a great race here so far in heat race number 2.
Well, they are nice and firm so far at the front of the field, once again with some decent momentum. But Hayden Cardwell, one of the drivers everyone's keeping an eye on. The points leader, 23-point advantage entering tonight. Losing ground to Edens off of 4. 2 laps to go this time. Change for the leaders. Hauser with a slight jump. They're going back and forth down the back.
Yeah, Hauser threw him a bomber down in the corner, took the lead for a moment. Now Wilson gives him the right rear fender off of turn number 4. He'll give it to him again down the front straightaway. Hauser's going to try and keep his foot in the throttle. Here comes the 00 of Tucker as they work down the backstretch for the final time. Hauser's going to send it down in the corner for a slider on the last corner. It's going to be a drag race to the line, 3 wide across the line. Hauser's going to get the win. Unbelievable stuff there in heat race number 2, JP.
That is 3/100ths of a second between Hauser and Wilson. Tucker about 1/10 of a second back. My goodness. And mind you, too, CJ Phillips, James Edens, and Hayden Cardwell were all door banging with Shane James coming to the white flag as well. but Phillips held on by 0.3 of a second for that final transfer chase.
Wow, what a finish in heat race number 2. We've still got 2 heats left to go, and if these ones are anything like that last one, we are in for a show. I might run out of breath by the end of this thing. As we get ready, here's the lineup. Evan C. currently 3rd in the point standings. He'll be on the pole, and on the outside of him, the 46 car of Dylan Rafferty. Row 2 inside, the 88 of Brian Wayant Jr. and the 70 of Davin Cardwell. Row 3 inside, Austin Carr in car number 1. And on the outside, gotta love that handlebar mustache for the 007 of Jacob Fields. Row 4, it's Zach Leonhardi, that's the former series champion. And on the outside, the defending winner here at the Limaland Motorsports Park for the World of Outlaws late models, the 44 Blake Cannon. He should be fun to watch here in this one.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how Cannon does here. Of course, won in 2019 at this racetrack in similar conditions to what we're seeing for tonight's event for round number 2. Going to have his work cut out for him because did not put in a qualifying time. The only driver to have that situation. So we'll have to see if the 44 can charge his way for the field. Also curious to see if Zach Leonhardi can get some luck towards his direction chase. When talking to him earlier today, felt like he had speed at Volusia, got into some incidents for the transfer. Didn't have speed though at Lernerville.
We'll see what Leonhardi can do as the safety truck pulls off. We're ready for heat race number 3. Evan C. is on the gas, and he will get clear of Dylan Rafferty down the front straightaway. And now Rafferty already under fire from Brian Wayant Jr., who's trying to punch his ticket into his first main event of the season. He looks to the inside of Rafferty, now to the inside for the race lead. Here comes Wayant down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to take it away, but not going to happen quite yet.
Wayant now slides his way up towards the middle high line. Rafferty with the squeeze makes his way on by. 3 wide behind him, a 5th spot. Leonhardi getting slide job by Cannon. Cannon spun around. Leonhardi into the wall. Carr into the wall. 3 drivers involved. 5 remaining, battling for the 4 transfer spots.
Man, what a series of events right there. Cannon went full send, and the 24 of Leonhardi did not like it and turned him around down the front straightaway and collected 1 other driver. Now we've got 4 drivers under a blanket down the back straightaway going on for those 4 transfers. Back behind, it is the 007 of Jacob Fields. He's got to hope for a big mistake here. He's back in 5th, 1 spot out of a transfer, and I don't think he's got enough time to track these guys down as they start the battle for 2nd.
I don't know, too, at this point. Fields right now running about a 1/10 of a second slower than Davin Cardwell in that final transfer spot. But the battle for 2nd and valuable track position is Dornbaning. Rafferty still on the top line, coming to 2 laps to go. Wayant Jr. trying to slide to the bottom side. Tries to rotate down on the bottom. Rafferty 3 wheels it up to 2nd.
Yeah, here comes Wayant down to the inside, slides it up. Close call right there off of turn number 2, and Rafferty will hang on to 2nd. Wayant's going to fire another one back to the inside, turns 3 and 4, but Rafferty's got the spot as they come down to the white flag this time by. Meanwhile, up front, your race leader, the 33 car of Evan C., he's got a half second, almost, or over a second advantage, I should say. He'll come off turn number 4 and pick up the win in heat race number 3. Behind him, 2nd will go to Rafferty, 3rd to Cardwell, and 4th will go to Brian Wayant Jr. in the final transfer with Jacob Fields, Austin Carr, Zach Leonhardi, and Blake Cannon rounding out the field there in a rowdy heat race number 3.
Well, we're expecting a lot of intensity for the transfer spot. I wasn't expecting them to go 3 wide and crash down the front straightaway after a couple of laps. Several drivers now having to go through the LCQ as there's a route chase. That's going to put a lot more pressure for those 2 transfer positions per run.
Let's see what it looks like here for this 4th heat race. Zach McSwain will be on the front row in the 25 car. Outside of him, former winner here at this racetrack, the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Row 2 to the inside, Cole Cabry in the 71 car, and the 0 of Kevin Dedman to the outside. Row 3, the 112 of Devin Morgan, and on the outside, the 74 car out of Tracy, California, that is Adam Elby. And your final starter, winner back at Volusia Speedway Park, and didn't even make the show last week at Lernerville. The 157 car of Drew Hopkins will start from 7th, so we'll see what Hopkins can do. Kind of a interesting situation there after running a very good race, pick up the win at Volusia, and then 1 week later there, JP, not even making the show.
Yeah, kind of surprising actually to see that immense amount of drop-off for Hopkins and his pace, shuffling all the way to the mid-pack in terms of the point standings. This type of track, though, might lean towards his racing style because, mentioned when talking with him last week, he prefers bottom-feeding racetracks. And the bottom, as we've seen, has been very decent so far, especially to set up slide jumps. Expecting at least some type of recovery from Hopkins if he can try and get some momentum early on in the seat.
And here we go. Let's see if that bottom of the racetrack comes in. We saw Brian Wayne Jr. trying it there in heat race number 3. We'll see what Hopkins does. Green flag is out as we make our way down the front straightaway for this final heat race. Zach McSwain will jump out with the early lead. Here comes Cole Cabry underneath of Alex Bergeron. Now 3 wide for a moment with Devin Morgan way down on the bottom of the racetrack. Now 3 wide for third. And this place is starting to get racy here as Kevin Dedman makes his way through the middle.
Devin Morgan believe he may hit one of the big white tires along the bottom of the racetrack. So easy to slide a woman's thumb and lose momentum. Contact for the transfer spot. Everyone shuffles forward. 4 wide for P3. That moves Hopkins up to 3rd spot. Up to 4th is Cabry after the contact down the back.
My jaw just hit the floor. Drew Hopkins from dead last up to 3rd as your drivers made a lot of contact. Mid-pack, now more contact. And now Morgan goes by. Hopkins pancakes the fence. He's around. And unbelievable. Just as soon as I was talking about him, Hopkins gets shuffled out. And now they're still going at it for second. Morgan to the inside. Or sorry, for third, I should say. Morgan goes by Cabry for third. Cabry back underneath him. And now here comes Elby trying to make it 3 wide on the bottom.
I don't think they're close enough yet to get this done over. More contact. Elby now making a hit on the 71. Morgan tries to run away in P3. Change for the lead up at the front. Alex Bergeron with a slight jump. Crosses in front of McSwain. Side by side to the back with 2 laps to go this time.
McSwain will return the favor into turns 3 and 4. Zach McSwain back to the lead, but here comes Bergeron. He'll tap the brake, turn it right back underneath him, throws the slide job. McSwain door-to-door down the back straightaway. Now Bergeron clears it. McSwain, oh my goodness, Bergeron nearly spun that thing around as they come down to the white flag this time by. Now Bergeron goes into protection mode, tries to block the move from Zach McSwain. A great job right there by the veteran driver. He'll roll the bottom in 3 and 4, and Bergeron will get the win in the final heat race of the night. A fantastic drive for that driver right there. The Team ABR number 12 car just absolutely schooled the 25 of Zach McSwain, who ends up in second. Third went to Elby and 4th to Morgan. That was an exciting heat race number 4 right there.
An hour wrestling match, to say the least, for that 4th spot. But again, these drivers want the valuable points, right? So we've seen how aggressive they've been willing to be all night long so far. That means this is going to be some of the most stacked fields we've seen for the LCQs in 2020, if not the most stacked, including sprint car competition.
Yeah, let's take a look at this first B main event lineup. It's going to be Steven Wilson on the front row alongside the 007 of Jacob Fields. Row 2 to the inside, Blake Brown and Austin Carr on the outside. Third row will be the 15 of Mason Crawford and the 24 car of Zach Leonhardi. And final starter is scheduled to be the 18 car of Daniel Cummings Jr. So like we see a majority of the time here in these B main events, it's drivers that were maybe running well in their heat race, JP, but run into some problems. I think a guy that we can look at for that, the 24 of Leonhardi, the 11 of Blake Brown, both those drivers getting into accidents in their heat races and putting them mid-pack here in one of these B mains. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, 10 laps here in the B mains. Just the top 2 will move into the 50-lap main event. So you either got to be first or you got to be second. Anything beyond that, and you'll be coming back to us for the next race because you'll be loaded up in the virtual trailer.
And don't forget, Austin Carr was also involved in that big wreck involving Leonhardi, as well as the 44 of Cannon down that front straightaway in their respective heat. So expecting some decent things from Carr. But also, I think we've seen some great speed from Steven Wilson in his Total Advantage Motorsport machine because he was able to chug his way up along the top line. And I think if he had a couple more laps, Chase, he might have got the final transfer spot in his respective heat in that 32.
And no doubt about it, Steven Wilson was very good there in that heat race earlier on. Just the drivers in front of him a little bit better. We'll see what that Bioshock number 32 car can do here in this B main event. He'll lead the field to green. As we're underway, Wilson will get clear of Jacob Fields. He'll try and run the bottom of the racetrack. Really, we've seen the top be dominant throughout the heat races, but Wilson seeming to like right next to those Uke tires on the bottom of the racetrack right now, Justin.
Absolutely, all those drivers being very cautious of them. That time, Wilson ran over one of them. No damage, though, on the 32. Pulls away by 3-4 car lanes. Fields, though, having to have a field day along the bottom side. Defense as Crawford now tries to close in. Here comes the run as well from Brown on the top line for third.
Yeah, Crawford trying to get by Jacob Fields for the third spot now. Here comes Blake Brown to the inside. The 11 car will try and throw the slider on the 15 of Crawford, who drives back around him on the outside. Now here comes Austin Carr trying to make it a 3-car tussle for that third spot. Meanwhile, Fields is not getting away from these guys as they battle right behind him. Fields looks to be having some problems here or something as these guys are battling hard behind him, but they're really not losing too much ground to him here.
Absolutely at this point, but here comes Fields trying to still hold on to the top. Crawford tries to shove his way underneath. 3 wide for the transfer spot. Mason Crawford makes contact. Fields shoving up the track. Forced to check up. Now up into the transfer spot is Blake Brown as they're still shoving for third.
And Blake Brown was in the catbird seat right there. He was way back behind those two guys. They ran into each other, and he snuck by right there on the bottom. 3 wide for fourth. Lots of beating and banging down the back straightaway. Nearly 4 wide as they made their way up the backside as Crawford trying to get his feet back under him to track down Blake Brown. There's still 3 laps to go. Crawford's got that right rear right on the wall, and I don't think he's out of this thing quite yet there, Justin.
I don't think so either. This could be up for grabs down to the final lap. Blake Brown, 2 laps to go with a 2-car length advantage. Prefers the bottom side. Crawford prefers to rim ride along the top side. Interval amongst those 2 drivers, 0.4 of a second. White flag this out. Time by as Crawford nearly ran up on top of the wall.
He did. He hit the wall right there trying to get everything he could as he makes his way down the back straightaway for the final time. Mason Crawford have to do something desperate. He'll look to the inside. 3 and 4 drives it in deep, gets it to the side of him. But Blake Brown is going to hang on after a shot in the left side door. Mason Crawford went for broke down into the corner, and he comes out on the other side, 1 spot out of a transfer. Your winner in that one was Steven Wilson, with Blake Brown coming home in second. Mason Crawford, Daniel Cummings Jr., Jacob Fields, Zach Leonhardi, Austin Carr will have to try again next week. Wow, this place has been unbelievable here tonight.
Yeah, this has been some absolutely spectacular racing, and I don't blame Crawford at all for how aggressive that move that was there chasing the final corner. You're trying to make a feature race and try and get the most points you can to keep yourself at the very least in the top 15. That was his one shot to make that pass. Now, onto the virtual trailer he goes as we get ready for the most stacked LCQ of the season.
I'm looking over this lineup, and I can't even fathom this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The 52 car of James Edens is on the pole. He won the exhibition race, the preseason non-points paying race at Volusia 3 weeks ago. And on the outside of him, it's the 71 car of Cole Cabry. On the inside of row 2, Hayden Cardwell, current series point leader. And on the outside, Kevin Dedman, who ended up 5th in series points last year. Row 3, it's Shane James, and the driver that won the first points-paying race of the season, Drew Hopkins, on the outside of row 3. Row 4, Austin Matthews, and on the outside of him, Blake Cannon, who won this race last year. There's 5 guys in this race that can easily get a transfer spot. This is going to be an absolute dogfight in this final B main.
Yeah, this is going to go to anybody. I don't know which direction this could go. We'll see which direction the drivers want to go. Green flag is out. Already near 3 wide, and Cardwell already hits the back end of Edens, coming into 1 and 2.
And this could be a championship deciding B-main event right here, ladies and gentlemen, as James Edens has the lead on the bottom with his teammate Cole Cabry looking to the outside. Now Cardwell looking to go even lower than James Edens. He runs the left front tire over the Uke tires, and here comes Cardwell for the race lead down the back straightaway.
Cardwell along the bottom of the racetrack. Shane James looks to join the fun. Hayden Cardwell gets to have the most fun. He's out to the race lead. 8 laps to go. Trying to hold off 3 wide for second. Edens trying to give the squeeze. Along the outside, Cole Cabry. On the bottom side, it's Dedman trying to slide his way up.
4 wide.
Crossover, 4 wide down the front.
4 wide for the transfer spot in the turns 1 and 2. Here comes James on the bottom. Now Edens through the middle. Cole Cabry's got second, but now Kevin Dedman. Now the 44 Cannon. They're all under a blanket. Tuck them in down the front straightaway. Here comes Dedman. Big slider for the transfer spot.
Shane James gets turned around. Still green, still racing. Side by side, still for second. Cabry slides up the track. Dedman, the orange blooming special, tries to move around. The Blossom special with Shane. Tries to have a special move, does. Crossover back from Cabry, though, down the back for 3.
And here comes the 44 Blake Cannon. He started dead last in this thing. He's all over him. Down the front stretch of the turns 1 and 2. Cannon's going to try and slow roll the bottom. He gets by Cabry. They're 3 wide down the back straightaway. 3 wide for the transfer. Big move. Big send out of Cannon. I cannot believe what I'm watching here in the B-main event, Justin.
This is unbelievable. Cabry now with the slide drop. Hugs the bus. Gets smacked. Here comes Cannon. The 44 slides his way up to second. Dedman tries to slide drop back. 3 wide again for the transfer. Cannon with the squeeze. Up to second. 2 laps to go this time as everyone hits the U tires.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. Blake Cannon from 8th to 2nd. He nearly scrapes the wall in 3 and 4. This time by the white flag. The white cloth is in the air. Hayden Cardwell with a straightaway lead. But who's going to come come up second. Down the back straightaway, Deadman right there in the rear pocket of Cannon. He drives it in deep, gives him the right front tire, but Cannon from dead last will get the job done. I cannot believe what I just witnessed there.
What did we just say? Most stacked field for an LCQ of the season, and when you have 2 spots up for grabs, Chase, you do have a lot of aggressive moves in the span of only 10-12 laps. We've seen a lot of those, and in turn, helped Cardwell pull away, yes, by 2.4 seconds, but several drivers shuffling out in P2 throughout the span of those laps. It could have went to anybody with how crazy that just got.
That was absolutely unbelievable, and with that, we need to take a break. I need to get some water. I need a little break here. I know you do too, Justin, so it's going to take a short break here on the iRacing Esports Network before we come back with tonight's 50-lap main event and the lineup for the race. So don't go anywhere here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We'll be right back here on the iRacing Esports Network for the feature event. Weeks of this series,
not just to win for themselves, but for their families. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of drivers really fighting hard to make it into tonight's feature.
We have our 20-car field set. We're ready for 50 laps. That's my favorite part about this series here, Justin. We don't waste any time, man. The World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model World Championship Series here on iRacing.com. They are some of the most aggressive drivers in this series. Green flags in the air, we're underway.
Back up to the top line, green wide, off of turn 4.
He's going to do everything he can to try and get by him for the third spot. Pulls up alongside of him.
All battling under a blanket.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. We're back here at Limaland Motorsports Park here in Lima, Ohio. It is just about feature time here. And, man, we have seen possibly the best racing that we will see all season long alone in that second B main event. Justin Prince is alongside. My name is Chase Rodman. I had to get a glass of water, and man, my voice was just about killed there, but we got the water, we got the pipes, rested up here. We are ready for this 50-lapper for what is going to be an unbelievable race, but we've got to talk about a couple of storylines here, Justin. Hayden Cardwell, current points leader after winning that B main event, will start on the outside of row number 9 back in 18th. If he wants to maintain the points lead tonight, he has got to get up on the wheel here.
Yeah, if he can get himself at least up to the top 5, I think that is a win, based on what we've seen from his speed and based on the trickiness of trying to get some of the passes done cleanly, mind you, at this racetrack tonight. So he's got to have a lot of pressure. I think the same thing, though, is for Blake Cannon, who starts off in the back of row 10 on the outside line. Expecting the same type of pressure tonight. Give shoutouts, though, as well to the other storylines of some of the drivers who have showed some great speed throughout in preparation for today and throughout the event so far. JD Hollywood Brown, the top driver in his respective heat, looked very strong. A lot of the slick sim sport machines carried a lot of speed. A majority of their team chase is starting inside the top 10, in fact.
Yeah, how about a couple drivers making their very first main event of the season? Casey Kerwin, CJ Phillips, Shad Prescott, Adam Elby, Brian Wayant Jr. Just a couple of drivers that are making their very first A-main of the year after 3 weeks of action. And how about James Edens? He didn't even make the show tonight. He was third, I should say, in World of Out. ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. We are back here at a slight technical difficulty here in the background. You have not missed anything. We are about ready to give you the starting lineup for tonight's 50-lapper from Limaland Motorsports Park. Let's go down the starting lineup, 20 drivers strong. It's going to be J.D. Brown, who will start this race from the pole, and outside of him, it's car number 2, Dylan Hauser. Row 2 on the inside, the 33 of M&C, and on the outside of him, a former winner here at Limaland, the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Row 3 on the inside, the 9 car of Tyler Ducharme, and the 80 of Dylan Wilson will start from 6th place here this evening. Row 4 on the inside, it's going to be Dylan Rafferty with a great starting spot here this evening, and on the outside, the 25 car of Zach McSwain. Row 5, the 41 car of Shad Prescott, and on the outside of him came in tonight, second in the point standings, the 00 of Kendall Tucker. Row 6 on the inside, the 70 car of Davin Cardwell, and outside of Davin, the 74 car making his first main event of the year, Adam Elby. Row 6 inside, it's going to be, row 7 I should say, inside, the 23 car of Casey Kerwin, and the 6 of CJ Phillips. Row 8, Brian Wan Jr. and the 112 of Devin Morgan. And then behind those guys, the 2 B main event winners, the 32 car of Steven Wilson, along with current series point leader Hayden Cardwell in the 07. And final starters, Blake Brown and Blake Cannon. Remember, Blake Cannon, the winner of this event last year, he'll start from dead last here this evening as we are getting ready for this 50-lapper. JP, what do you expect out of this one after what we saw in the last couple races here?
A lot of craziness, to say the very least. We've seen some craziness for some of the transfer spots in the heats and LCQs, expecting a lot of bumping and banging. The potential for attrition as well is a high possibility. It could go to anybody tonight, this feature race, with how difficult this track has been.
Round 3 of the iRacing.com World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series is underway here tonight at Limaland Motorsports Park as the 20-car field heads into turns 1 and 2, and down the back straightaway, your race leader is going to be the number 2 car of Dylan Hauser up front.
Side by side, 3 wide for the race leader, ready, coming to the end of turn 1. Dylan Hauser leads the first lap. J.D. Brown already cycled 3 wide in the middle. Alex Bergeron tries to run the outside, takes away P2. C now tries to run the bottom as it's 3-4 wide in the Hornet's Nest.
And Bergeron will get clear of J.D. Brown. Move that number 12 machine up to the 2nd spot. J.D. Brown runs 3rd. Then it's Evan C. and Dylan Wilson back in the 5th spot. Now here comes C trying to work the bottom of the inside of Brown for the 3rd position. Here comes Dylan Rafferty. Rafferty trying to make the bottom work contact back behind. With Wilson and C, they get it back going. Your race leader is still the 2 of Hauser up front.
Still shuffling along as the top 3 now move up to the preferred top line for the early portions of this race. Dylan Rafferty, the first side-by-side, still with Evan C. along the top side. Side-by-side behind him, Tyler Ducharme now tries to move up, makes hard contact with the wall. Also following is McSwain. Prescott forced to check up, back single file with a majority of the field.
Update on your points leader, Hayden Cardwell. He has moved up 1, actually stay in the same spot. He's still running 18th at the back of the field, so we'll try and keep an eye on his progress throughout the night as the best battle on the racetrack is about to be the one for the lead as Bergeron is closing in on Hauser, but a great race for 4th as well between the 46 of Rafferty and the 33 of C. Rafferty really the only guy in the top 5 working the bottom of the racetrack off of turn number 4 down the front stretch.
Most of the field still preferring that top line. It was the preferred line when you think back to 2019 in this same round under the lights. Drivers like this top groove. Some try to set up passes though and get moisture down the straightaways and in the middle of 1 and 2 especially. Most of these drivers though have not migrated to that portion yet if they've had the track position. For Dylan Rafferty, he's now got that opportunity 3 wide as J.D. Brown stuffs into the wall. C now moves up to 3rd as a result.
Yeah, Brown got right front into the wall and got that car very tight. Had to get out of the throttle to get off that wall. He falls back to 5th. Now Rafferty up to 3rd. And Evan C. now around the outside. He'll take that 3rd spot. So C is currently the best of the 3 drivers at the top of the point standings as he makes his way to the bottom step of the podium. And he's trying to track down Alex Bergeron. But up front, it is all Dylan Hauser. He's turning the fastest lap of the race up front right now in that number 2 car.
13-1s right now is the pace he's been setting. A majority of the field's in the 13-2s in the middle of the top 10. Still, Rafferty trying to still make it on the bottom side, trying to get clear of Brown, just about does down the straightaway. Keep in mind about 11 seconds, 11th on back, They're still 3 wide and have been door banging each other and squeezing each other down some of the straightaways.
Yeah, Hayden Cardwell's now made up some ground here. He's up to about 15th place right now. 4 wide down the back stretch with Cardwell, LB, Wilson, and Phillips. What a move by Hayden Cardwell. He'll go by 3 cars down the front stretch, and Cardwell's up to about the 11th spot now. Contact in front of him, and Cardwell's about to crack the top 10 here.
Very quick run on this long run so far. +6 for Hayden Cardwell in the feature race so far. Gets his way past Casey Kerwin. Tries to check up this time, following his cousin Devin Cardwell along the top groove. All 4 drivers in the second stanchion prefer the top. Everybody else still trying to use the middle line 3 wide.
Yeah, Rafferty, Dylan Rafferty, really the only guy on the bottom. Caution is coming out here. Caution's out on lap 17. Let's take a look at what happened. It appears to be Blake Cannon, who started dead last in this thing. He gets together with, it appears to be Adam Elby, I believe here. Taking a look at the replay here on my end. Yes, gets into Adam Elby down the straightaway. It gets cleared out by the 11 car of Blake Brown. Here's the replay, and let's take a look at it, Justin.
Yeah, and did a very good job off the corner, but just, I think, timed it up fairly wrong because he was trying to slip up to the top line while LB tried to come down and slide to the bottom of the racetrack. That's where they intersected, and that contact went around. So yeah, apologies on the radio from some of the fellow drivers after some of the contact.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of misjudging there by the 44 of Cannon. It maybe looked like LB got a little bit too much on the gas there in the slick and kind of kicked the rear end out a little bit as Cannon was in the moisture and kind of ran into that left rear and sent him sideways with Blake Brown nowhere to go. Let's reset the field for you here while we're under yellow. It's Hauser, Bergeron, C, Brown, and Rafferty, the top 5. Then Dylan Wilson, Tyler Ducharme, Zach McSwain, Kendall Tucker. And it looks like Shad Prescott is rounding out the top 10 as Hayden Cardwell has made his way up to 12th. And this is exactly what he needed here as we go back to green. Cardwell needed a caution. We're back underway here with lap 17 in the book. Still a lot of laps to go here tonight from Lima.
Most of the leaders able to single file out, but 3-4 wide for the battle for third already. Wilson, C, and Rafferty side by side. J.D. Brown also joins the fun. Back to 2 wide as they make their way down the front. 32 laps to go. Still keep an eye, though, on that 07 of Hayden Cardwell. Still chugging along the top line, fighting for P9 behind the 00.
Yeah, good run for the 07 of Cardwell, trying to make up what was a terrible night in the heat race and in qualifying as Alex Bergeron is trying to get that top side perfected in. And we know that 12 car, whether it's sprint cars, midgets, late models, whatever it is, that 12 car can run a cushion just about as good as anybody on the iRacing service, as he's only about a car length behind the 2 car of Dylan Hauser with C in third. Then Brown. Here comes Dylan Wilson with a move to the inside of Brown for 4th.
Trying to block off Rafferty this time, a bit of a bobble up the racetrack. Wilson now tries to shove a bit. Rafferty goes for the slide job up towards the cushion. On the exit of the back straightaway, Rafferty still hugs the bottom. The D1 RT machine still hugging the top line. Teammates side by side past the flank stand, though. Wilson is clear. Now, J.D. Hollywood Brown looks to follow the conga line on the top.
And 2 cars behind Brown is the 07 of Cardwell. He's up to 9th after starting 18th. And here next time by, we'll get the halfway signal up front, though. Things are starting to get spicy as the 33 car of Evan C. He ran the bottom at 1 and 2, made up some ground on Alex Bergeron, who hits the wall. Bergeron tags the wall off 4, and here comes C down the inside, turn number 1.
That lost Bergeron about 3 car lengths, about 0.2 of a second on the lap. C and company, though, have been able to run away because of how aggressive the fight's been fought back. The teammates are still scrapping, and Wilson and Rafferty, and the more they've fought side by side, the more they've lost momentum off some of the corner exits to be able to pull the distance inside the top 3. Keep in mind, though, Hayden Cardwell is now fighting for 7th with his teammate, Zach McSwain.
Yeah, Cardwell trying to roll the bottom, but no dice down there. It's a little bit too slow. You got to be up on the cushion, or right there, about a lane below the cushion is where the speed is at here tonight at Limaland Motorsports Park. Meanwhile, the 2 car of Dylan Hauser now out to nearly a second advantage over the 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Up front, though, in about 5th, the 46 of Rafferty and the 14 of Brown have migrated to the middle of the speedway, especially down in 1 and 2, but Rafferty around the bottom, around the entire racetrack, and it's a lot safer down there, JP. You don't have to worry about hitting the wall. Just got to use a lot of throttle control here as the caution is out once again.
Yeah, caution flag is out, and this is going to be interesting. Already drivers thinking about the need to calm down with how aggressive some of the fights have been. It was Steven Wilson going about 45 to 75 degrees around because of hard contact from behind, where it was 4 wide between the 32, the 44, along with the 6 and a couple other cars. That triggers the caution flag, and already that lines us back up.
Yeah, here's the replay. This is all the action going on throughout the field. We can't even keep track of it. We don't have enough cameras to show you all this. We're 4 wide back here, and a little bit of contact there. The 6 of C.J. Phillips kind of got hit from somebody on the outside and sent the 32 of Wilson around. As we take a look here, we're coming back to the green flag. Not this time by, but the next time by here. And, we got to talk about Hayden Cardwell. He's up to the 8th spot. He'll restart in the preferred line on the outside here. When we come back to green, still 20 laps to go. When these drivers reach the start-finish line, Cardwell is well in reach of a victory here. If things start to get dicey up front, Bergeron's got the preferred groove on the outside of the first row. Green flag is out. We're back underway here. 20 laps to go. Hauser gets a good start. He leads them back into turns 1 and 2, followed by Bergeron and C.
Hayden Cardwell, though, got an epic start. Went 3 wide in 1 and 2. He's already up to 6th spot. Along the top line, C tries to diamond up in front. Outlaw Hauser tries to run away. Keep in mind the 07 still along that preferred line. Checks up for C. Bergeron now tries to go 3 wide for second.
Yeah, Dylan Wilson threw a slider on him. Now Wilson nearly gets into the back of Bergeron. We're 3 wide for second. Rafferty, slow rolling that thing. He is catfishing down on the bottom tonight at Limaland Motorsports Park, looking for his first podium finish of the season as he looks underneath of Dylan Wilson. Now Wilson through the middle, Bergeron on the top, and Wilson is very, very good on the bottom. Might be able to clear Alex Bergeron off in turn number 2 and up the back straightaway.
And he's got his fellow teammate Tewin Rafferty now preferring the bottom side, as we've seen throughout this night so far. 17 to go this time by, though. 5 cars under a blanket in the fight for second. Cardwell now shoots his way up to the top. Again has to check up, trying to find his way around the 33. All well, Wilson still side by side with Bergeron. Bergeron taps the wall again with the right front tire.
And now the 80 car of Wilson might be able to clear him off at turn number 2 this time by. Bergeron tags the wall once again, and Dylan Wilson's now up to the 2nd spot. So Wilson around the bottom, where there's no outside wall to contend with. He is up to P2, but I don't think that middle of the racetrack is as good as the top of the racetrack, as Dylan Hauser continues to pull away, looking to become the 3rd different winner in 3 races with the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series.
And drivers and fans have talked about this throughout the week, that
caution.
As the caution is out, it's at the back of the field. Davin Cardwell gets spun around in the 70.
Yep, Davin Cardwell racing with Blake Cannon back here. And let's take a look at the replay. And it looks like Cardwell will get hit from behind by the 23 car of Casey Kerwin. Let's take a look at what happened here. Cardwell, yeah, it looks like Kerwin got into the corner a little bit better there than Cardwell, and just turned him around right there.
Yeah, much more momentum on that top line. Kerwin sent it. Just not enough time, I think, for Kerwin to try and back off the gas and try and let up to make sure he didn't make the contact there. But the point I was just about to bring up was some fans and drivers have talked about that Hauser, along with his teammate this week when it comes to Hayden Cardwell, having 2 drivers have been extremely quick in official and league events at this racetrack. Both are very quick here. And for Hauser, this will be a massive improvement. You've seen it in the results. A P10 of the championship, as well as his best finish so far in 2 races being the top 8.
Yeah, Hauser's been on a hot streak lately with top 10 finishes. If we go back to green this time by, it's going to be a single file restart. After 3 cautions, we go from double to single file restarts, which is really going to help the 2 car of Hauser here. We'll see what happens back behind him with Dylan Wilson running 2nd, Bergeron in 3rd. Green flag is back in the air, 13 to go. And up front, Wilson already going to work on the 2 car of Hauser to the inside.
Wilson preferring the chug along bottom side. What a move along the bottom. Dylan Wilson, contact along the wall. Hauser still tries to prefer the high side. 12 to go this time. Gets clear in a 1 and 2 as everyone behind him now tries the middle.
And Cardwell's into the top. Oh, Cardwell hits the fence. He was up into the top 5, but hit the wall off at turn number 2 and allows Brian Wayant Jr. and the 33 of C to go by. But up front, the race for the lead is not over yet. They're side by side through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Hauser's got the momentum on the high side to clear him down the straightaways, but Wilson able to pull up alongside him in the center of the corners. I'm just waiting to see if he'll throw him a slider here in these last couple laps with 10 to go that time by.
We've seen him pull a couple sliders and make it work whenever he's felt comfortable enough to make the pass. Now he prefers the top line. Contact for Hauser against the wall. Here comes Wilson down the front stretch. He works the middle across the bumps. Back along the bottom side as Hauser again keeps the top side. Still trying to take advantage as Wilson. 8 laps to go this time as Wilson slides up to the middle.
He tried to throw the slider, but Hauser drove back around on the outside. And if you do that, you can get yourself in trouble if you don't time it right. And Wilson just waiting for another mistake out of Hauser. The pressure might be getting to that number 2 car. Trying to win a race after 2 weeks ago he lost his father and is trying to bring one home for the family here tonight as Rafferty and Bergeron, they go at it for that 3rd spot back behind. Give 3rd now to Dylan away.
And contact with the wall for Hayden Cardwell. That shuffles him back more. He's now to P7 after getting as high as P5. Give a shout out to the 88-2 of Brian Wayne Jr., who's also inside the top 6 with a fight. But Bergeron watching as these drivers fighting out for the race lead from the top.
And we are not done yet. One mistake from Dylan Hauser, and Dylan Wilson will be right back underneath him. Wilson continuing to work the bottom of the racetrack. 2 car lengths separate your top 2 drivers this time by. Less than 5 laps to go, 4 to go this time by the stripe. And Wilson, that time by with a 13:59, and Dylan Hauser with a 13:59 as well. They're running identical lap times here in the closing laps at Limaland Motorsports Park.
Will he be able to get the job, though, is the question if you're a fan of Dylan Wilson. Once again, separated by just 5/1,000 of a second last time. Dylan Wilson, the quicker of the 2 this time. He has another 13.5. 2 to go this time. Now chugging the middle as Hauser again nearly taps the back end of the wall. Does it again at the stripe.
2 laps to go. It's a battle between the Dylans. Up the back straightaway and coming down to the white flag this time by. Hauser on the top, Wilson on the bottom. This time by, the white flag is in the air from Limaland Motorsports Park. Who's going to win in the 3rd round of the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Model Series? Down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Wilson drives it in deep up the track. He gets into Hauser, but Hauser's going to hang on for the race win. What a race tonight from Limaland Motorsports Park. Wilson ends up 2nd. Behind him in 3rd, Dylan Rafferty, Alex Bergeron, and Evan C. Hayden Cardwell 18th up to 6th. What a race here this evening.
What a race, and what a big win for Dylan Hauser with what happened a few weeks ago. Now puts himself in a victory lane. This has got to be an emotional victory, Chase, to be able to get one tonight and win in such dominating fashion over several hard-charging contenders behind him.
Yeah, Dylan Hauser lost his father a few weeks ago. Put out a Facebook post that was very heart-wrenching. It was tough to watch. It was tough to read, and it's great to see him in victory lane here tonight. Just for that reason alone. Dylan Wilson 2nd, Dylan Rafferty 3rd, Alex Bergeron, Evan C., then Hayden Cardwell, Kendall Tucker, Tyler Ducharme, J.D. Brown, and Blake Cannon from dead last up to 10th. Behind those guys, 11th through 20th look like this. Zach McSwain, Casey Kerwin was 12th. 13th was Steven Wilson. 14th was C.J. Phillips. 15th, Blake Brown. 16th, Brian Wayne Jr., who was in the top 5 there but had an accident late in the race that did not draw a yellow. Shad Prescott, 17th. Devin Morgan, 18th. Davin Cardwell in 19th. And Adam Elby will round out the field in 20th. Man, I am still trying to catch my breath right now. I cannot wait to talk to our top 5 finishers after this one. I just want to hear what they are thinking about, because this was a race and a half here this evening, Justin. I can't believe it.
And based on the history when it comes to this racetrack and the excitement that it brings with the battles, I think we were kind of expecting a lot of craziness for the lead. We weren't expecting the craziness we've seen with Hauser and Wilson, and I think as well with the Hornets' Nest tonight. It was an unbelievable race. It's been a fan favorite on the schedule for a reason, Chase. A fantastic battle and a fantastic race throughout the entire field tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Every race that came onto the racetrack was an absolute barn burner, with the exception of maybe the first heat race. I think that might have been the worst race of the night. Everything else was a battle for the lead, a battle for the transfer spot, sliders, door banging, the whole thing. It was an absolutely unbelievable night as we are waiting. Actually, it looks like we've got him in here. It looks like we do have our race winner here this evening, and we're going to talk to him here in just a few moments.
Yeah, and for Hauser, it's been hard fought at this point to be able to win these races and to be able to come away with a victory like this with the speed he's shown throughout the entire week, throughout the entire day today. And to finally have everything come together, this is a huge victory from Chase. Can't wait to hear what he's about to say.
Yeah, we've got him here in the broadcast booth now after holding off a hard-charging Dylan Wilson and as well as Alex Bergeron. Dylan Hauser, you are the winner here this evening from Limaland Motorsports Park. You started second, and I believe led every lap of that one. Behind you was an absolute, just a dogfight, man. But you were ahead of all that. You get the job done. And for good reason, man. We know you had a tough thing happen in your life here these last couple weeks, and tonight, $300 richer. But I don't even think that matters, man. A win is huge for you right now.
Yeah, especially in this series, like this year, man, there are so many good guys, and it's tough, man. Like we ran 9th and 12th the first 2 races, and really just had some bad luck. But tonight, I knew we were good. I mean, the slick car's been really fast all year long, really. I mean, we got a second and 2 wins so far in the year, so we're gonna keep plugging away. Hayden did a great job tonight, making sure he could stay up front in points, and he showed championship heart by driving through the field to get the 6, so that was cool. And my car really handled really good throughout that whole feature. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't too tight at the beginning, so I could kind of get away from myself and separate myself from the other guys. Cause I figured they'd be a little tight. So it worked out good, and I just can't thank everybody enough that helps us out, man.
Well, there towards the closing laps, Dylan Wilson was really putting some pressure on you on the bottom of the racetrack. Were you a little worried that the bottom was going to be the place to be at the end of this race? Because we do know from the past that the top here at Limaland is oh so dominant, but Dylan had that thing, the other Dylan, I should say, was actually there's 3 Dylans. The top 3 were Dylans tonight. That is absolutely unbelievable. That's besides the point. But did you think that maybe he was going to get you on the bottom, and then you had to throw that kind of the block down there in 3 and 4 to protect the slider? Were you a little worried there in those closing laps?
Yeah, I was telling my guys, like, what should I do in the final corner with like 5 to go, and they said cover, and I was like, I saw like 4 to go. I tried gapping him a little bit, but he was just too strong on 1 and 2, and I was testing by myself some this week, and I realized that it could lock down around the bottom because I was running the same times on the bottom as well as the top. So that's really cool to see 2 lines come in at the same time and be competitive. So it was a good race. Dylan's one of the best at rolling the bottom, probably the best, honestly, at rolling the bottom. So that's cool, and congrats to him on second.
Well, Dylan, you came in tonight 10th in the point standings, and you get max points here this evening, 78. You win the heat race, you win the feature, and I think with this win right here, obviously Hayden did not have a very good heat race, did not get many points there, ends up 6th in the feature, which is not too bad, but you might have just catapulted yourself right back into this championship hunt.
Yeah, it's a long season. It's 10 weeks, and like every year, you just got to be consistent. So, as long as we keep getting these top 3s and running up front, we'll be there at the end of the deal. However it shakes out, I'm just glad to be part of the series, and look forward to next week. And I got to thank all my sponsors at Slick, Bobby Hans and Jennifer Hans, Hanover Record Service, everybody at Slick Sim Sport down in the graphics, Colton Davis for spotting me tonight, Lewis, and just everybody at Slick, Hayden and JD for turning, and Tyler for turning lots of laps this week. It takes a team effort to get these cars to run at this level of competition, so I got to appreciate those guys.
Well, there he is. Dylan Hauser out of Ocala, Florida will get the win here this evening. And coming home in second, just 4/10 behind him, a very hard-fought P2. Went from 6th and ended up there, right there next to him at the start-finish line. That was Dylan Wilson. He's standing by now with Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed. And he's been listening in as well with all this. First things first, Dylan Wilson. A fantastic race and a fantastic fight. How are you feeling coming home with second place tonight?
Oh, I felt a lot better than I did in those first couple laps. I got squeezed in the wall in like lap 3 there, and I thought my car was pretty much ruined at that point. So my teammate showed me the middle was still strong at points in that race. So I just stuck with the middle at the end there, and it was we're catching Hauser a little bit, but it seemed like the line was middle 1 and 2, top of 3 and 4, because you couldn't really make up any ground at 3 and 4. So after thinking that we were just going to be holding on all race to be able to drive up there and get second, I'll take that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, your teammate Dylan Rafferty started to use that middle to bottom line. It seemed around 10, 20 laps into the race during the green flag conditions. Once it started, you started following along. That's when you started charging up. What was kind of the discussion in your head or with your teammates like when you seen the 46 make that line work and slowly start creeping into positions as that line came in about the same time as the top line did for the finish?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Honestly, I thought we'd be one groove around the top. So when I was seeing them he was hanging there in the middle. I mean, that's awesome. You can't ask for a better track state from iRacing for that deal. So we were able to race everywhere, and wherever you set your car up for, you were able to dig. So most of the guys were on the top, middle, I mean, everywhere around the track. So that's awesome because I thought coming into this race, we'd all kind of be riding the wall, and it was a nice change of pace.
Absolutely. Now, with this, the championship fight with the struggles for Hayden Cardwell with qualifying in his heat race and trying to get through the field makes the championship fight very, very intriguing for round 4 onward. It's early on in the season, yes, but what are your thoughts now as the championship starts to move its way towards some of the final short track races and moves towards the bigger tracks for the second half of the season, and how tight it can be for this title now with how well you performed tonight?
Yeah, I haven't looked at points yet, so I'm not really sure where I'm at or how I'm sitting. I know I've had a couple, I think a 4th and a 7th so far, and so I can't be that far behind. And with Hayden having struggles, I know he finished 1st and 2nd, so it can only help me close the gap a little bit. But I mean, we're only on race 3 of 10, and I mean, you saw Hayden made a mistake in qualifying, and it's as simple as that to set you behind for the night. So the goal is to not have any mistakes. I mean, as hard as that sounds, but to be perfect, because you almost have to be to win this series.
Indeed. Anyone you want to thank for being a part of your second place finish tonight?
Oh, yes, sir. D1RT Racing, as always, Tub Quality Threads for the sponsorship. And I got to thank you guys for broadcasting this deal, and iRacing and World of Outlaws for putting this deal on so we can all enjoy a chance to race for some money from our living rooms.
Congratulations on the top 3 finish tonight, Dylan. That was Dylan Wilson from Bakersfield, California, coming away with his best finish of the season so far, a P2 chase.
Yeah, it was a good night to be a Dylan here, no doubt about it. As now we're talking with Dylan Rafferty, ends up in P3 here this evening, bottom step of the podium. A great run for you there, Mr. Rafferty. I don't think your car ever went to the top of the speedway. You were committed down to the bottom, catfishing right around those infield tires, and it worked out for you very well, as it actually seemed like you even helped out Dylan Wilson a little bit and kind of showed him where a different line could be off the wall. But either way, a top 3 run for you tonight. You got to be more than happy with that.
Yeah, I really struggle with running the wall here in iRacing. I just struggle with it. So I was committed to the middle bottom, and I just told myself I was never going to move off it no matter what. And I'm glad the groove come in.
Next week, we head to a track that is definitely not really known for running the bottom. That would be Eldora Speedway, the house that Earl built, and now the house that Tony owns. A place that is known for being up on the fence. And that doesn't sound like you might be too happy about heading off to Eldora next week. What are your thoughts heading to that place in Ohio?
I struggled to run the top, but everyone on D1RT, I couldn't ask for a better group to try to get caught up with everyone on iRacing, and got a good group to learn from, so hopefully I'll get the top figured out by then.
Well, Dylan, a fantastic run for you here this evening, man. We hope to see you up here in the top 5 throughout the season again. Who are some of the sponsors you got to thank for helping you out here this evening?
The biggest thanks I got to do is everyone on D1RT, like I just said. They've helped me a lot getting back up to speed, and then Rafferty Designs, Rafferty Excavating, and Truck Trailer Service.
Well, there he is, the 46 car of Dylan Rafferty comes home in 3rd. And finally, we're going to talk to somebody not named Dylan. That is Alex Bergeron. He ends up in P4, and Justin Prince standing by with him.
Yes, indeed, Alex. The highest running non-Dylan tonight in the field. How are you feeling with your top 5 run tonight?
Feels great. After the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 P9 finishes. It feels great. We were fast, very much. I mean, the car was great all night. I mean, I feel like this is the best car we've had, after 3 races, and it's just going to go better and better as we go. We figured some stuff out, and car feels a lot better, and, just like qualifying, we've had a good run again, and I feel like, all the good stuff is coming for us.
Have to ask, there was a lot of pressure coming from behind you in the second half of the race, especially. You were as high as 2nd tonight. What was kind of going through your head when you seen the 3-4 wide battles of everyone trying to use the bottom and the top to try and get around you and slide job their way on by? And on top of that, how crucial was the spotting help up on the stand with how crazy this race was tonight?
Yeah, it was tough. Thankfully, Rebecca was there to help me out with all that, and it just the car, we were able to run everywhere. It's just was more comfortable to run the outside and with Dylan down the bottom there in the middle. And I just want to finish in top 5 tonight, so I just didn't push the car as much as I could. I just didn't want to make any mistakes and just try to stay inside the top 5 so we can move forward in the championship. And I don't know where we're placed at in the championship, but it's definitely getting closer and closer. And next week, Eldora is going to be a lot tougher, and hopefully we can get a good result out of it.
Speaking of Eldora, you mentioned looking to get a good result there. What's kind of your approach there at that racetrack compared to how you would run it at the sprint cars, for the sprint cars rather?
It really depends on what the track states is, and how the weather is, how everything plays out. The track tonight, we've seen all week, the middle bottom coming in, but after a long time on the racetrack, after a lot of practices. So it really depends on how the groove forms in, how the weather is. But we could definitely see a bottom there at Eldora next week. I mean, that would be great to have multiple lines to race on, but we just have to move forward and just trying to get into the features, and then after that, trying to get some top 5s.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your top 5 run tonight?
Well, as always, Team ABR Esports, all of our partners, CSI Shocks, BitLogic App, BK Designs, Myring Farm Equipments, everyone that supports us, all the fans out there, Jason and Rebecca, my father for watching as always, and you guys for broadcasting an awesome job, and iRacing and all of Outlaws, Morton Buildings for putting the series up, and that we're able to race on here and have some fun.
Congratulations on the top 5, Alex. Good run.
Thank you, Justin.
That was Alex Bergeron coming home in 4th tonight. Chase, an eventful race to say the very least, with lots of comers and goers. I think there's a lot of happy people after tonight with some of the performances, with some of the craziness, and a lot of drivers who may have some discussions after some of the battling and bumping and banging.
Yeah, there might be a couple of virtual fistfights throughout the week after all the contact we saw here tonight. But, from an announcer standpoint, from a fan standpoint, I think of myself as a fan that gets to talk about what they're watching. And that tonight, what we saw, not only in the feature, but the B-mains and the heat races, that is exactly what I come to a real racetrack to see. That's exactly why I like to do these races here on iRacing.com. Because the racing is so close. Everybody's so close. They're so competitive. And when money's on the line, man, everything goes out the window for these guys, and they lay it all on the line. Justin, and I'm just sitting here refreshing the points, man, waiting for the points to get updated just so I could see, so I can get myself prepared for Eldora Speedway next week. The points must be as confused as we are as what we saw here tonight, because they're not updating yet, but this thing is starting to heat up pretty quick, and I cannot wait for next week.
I can't wait either, and we've seen in real life and on the virtual side, Chase, that Eldora puts on some great battles too, especially at that specific facility. It can go either way of who wins that race too. I'm expecting it to be not as crazy with some of the battles we've seen tonight, but I expect it to be very important for some of these drivers to try and build momentum there, because after that, they get to have fun at Lernerville again, and we've seen how difficult that was in the nighttime in round 2.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Can't wait to head back to Lernerville here in 2 weeks' time. But I think that's all the coverage we have here this evening. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Evan C. in a interview here for 5th place. But with that being said, we are going to wrap things up here tonight from the virtual Limaland Motorsports Park. My name is Chase Rodman for Justin Prince. We hope to see you back here on these virtual streams, whether it's iRacing's Twitch, YouTube, or their Facebook page, as we head to Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio for the 4th round of the iRacing.com World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Models. We'll see you next Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern here at Eldora Speedway. See you next time, ladies and gentlemen.